Gaza, once a home to over 2 million people, is now a wasteland of rubble and dust. Streets that once carried the laughter of children are gone. Buildings that once held families, dreams, and lives are nothing but shattered concrete. Today, the world watches the destruction of Gaza unfold in real time, a tragedy of unimaginable proportions. This war between Israel and Palestinian groups, primarily Hamas, has lasted for more than 2 years. What began as a response to violence turned into an endless cycle of bombardments, blockades, and suffering. According to international organizations, more than 60,000 people have been killed, many of them civilians, men, women, and children who simply wanted to live. Gaza City today looks like a ghost town. Satellite images reveal miles of ruins, collapsed neighborhoods, and hospitals reduced to ashes. Schools, markets, parks, the foundations of everyday life, are gone. Electricity is scarce, clean water is almost impossible to find, and food is rationed by the spoonful. People fight for survival, for a sip of water, for a loaf of bread. A joint report by the United Nations and the World Bank estimates that rebuilding Gaza would cost more than $70 billion. But no amount of money can bring back the lives, the memories, or the homes that have vanished. Gaza is not just a destroyed city, it is a symbol of human suffering caught between politics and war. Humanitarian agencies describe the situation as catastrophic. More than 1.5 million people have been displaced, living in temporary shelters without power or sanitation. Hospitals are overcrowded, and many have been completely destroyed. Doctors work around the clock, often without electricity, medicine, or medical supplies. Because of the ongoing blockade, aid arrives slowly, if at all. Children grow up hungry, frightened, and traumatized. Many of them have never experienced silence, only the constant sound of explosions. Agriculture, once the backbone of Gaza's economy, has collapsed. Over 90% of crops have been destroyed, and much of the land is now contaminated with unexploded bombs. People who once lived off the land now stand in endless food lines, depending on humanitarian aid for survival. But the greatest loss is not just the destruction of buildings. It's the destruction of human lives. Gaza has lost its cultural heritage, its museums, libraries, and ancient landmarks. Entire neighborhoods that carried centuries of history have been erased. The survivors carry deep emotional scars, haunted by the memories of what once was. An entire people now lives in collective grief, trapped between a past reduced to dust and a future that seems impossible. Rebuilding Gaza will be one of the greatest challenges of our time. The scale of destruction is unimaginable. Millions of tons of debris, much of it dangerous, filled with unexploded ordnance. It will take years to clear. And even then, without lasting peace and political stability, reconstruction may only rebuild what will later be destroyed again. But Gaza is more than a war zone. It is a mirror of humanity, a test of how far we're willing to go to protect human life. When you look at aerial footage of Gaza, you don't just see ruins. You see shattered families, lost futures, and silent stories buried beneath the rubble. And yet, despite everything, life in Gaza persists. People help one another. Children still play among the ruins. Doctors still fight to save the wounded. The human spirit refuses to die, even under the weight of endless suffering. So what can we do? Maybe we cannot stop the war, but we can choose not to look away. We can speak the truth, support humanitarian organizations, and demand that our governments act to protect civilians. Every voice matters. Every donation, every word, every act of empathy counts. Silence kills just as surely as bombs. Gaza is no longer just a place on the map. It is a wound on the conscience of the world. If peace is ever to exist, it must begin with understanding and with compassion. Thank you for watching. If you believe that every human life has value, share this story. Let the world hear the voices of those who can no longer speak. Gaza deserves to be seen, to be remembered, and to be rebuilt. In Gaza, childhood is measured in sirens and dust. Before dawn, children wake to cues. Water, bread, anything. They carry empty jugs, not backpacks, to shattered streets. Some draw homes on scraps of cardboard, windows, trees, a sky. Others study by candlelight, trading pencils like treasure. Every small smile is an act of defiance. Schools are walls without roofs, but lessons continue. A volunteer writes the alphabet on a broken door. A girl whispers multiplication tables over shellfire echoes. A boy shares a torn workbook, half his name missing. They pass knowledge like a candle, one flame to another. Between ruins, children still find room for games. A crushed can becomes a ball, a rope, a finish line. They count goals in laughter, not in numbers lost. Hope is their rulebook. Simple, stubborn, unbreakable. If the world protects them, tomorrow can still begin.